So, I don't know if you're new here, maybe you have seen some of our videos. In this vlog, we're gonna talk about a little bit about what goes behind the screen coming up.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Welcome back to our weekly tabletop diary. In this vlog, I'm going to show you a little bit of what goes behind the screen of our videos, who's doing what between me and Tarrant, what we discuss, what we argue, and what happened. So, Tarrant is the mostly the how to play / what to expect rule summary guy. So he's the man. So what happened first? Let's start from the start. Let's say, for example, we got this game, Wonder Woman. So we have this game, and then what do we do first usually?
So, as would naturally occur, we learn the rules.
The rules is not here. I was gonna give you the rules. It's somewhere. I think I used it before to do one of these process. So usually, I'll try to get Tarrant to learn it, because something that will probably take Tarrant, I don't know, half an hour to learn. It will probably take me 2 hours or something like that.
So I'll usually learn the rules. If we've got a very high workload of games after a convention or something like that, you'll learn some, or you sometimes bring our other friends in to play and learn. Yes,
to play and learn together. So that's the first process learn, and then we play. So either me and Tarrant, depending on the player counts. It's just easy for us because we play all the time, because that's what we like and that's what we do. We play the games, and then it goes to production phase now.
Well, and with playing the games, a lot of the time it will depend on the game, how carefully we play it.
That's right.
I don't like to learn and play right away. It's part of the process of doing a how to play video as well. I think
that's a different process.
We had a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about tips for teaching a game.
Yes.
And I always said the first step there is preparation.
That's correct.
And thinking about how you're going to teach it. I hate learning and playing right away, or learning and teaching you right away, because I know it won't come out in the right order. I know you get frustrated if it's not taught perfectly,
it's not.
which it's never going to be if I've only just learned
No,
it.
it's not.
So those playthroughs, I do prefer to have a day or so.
I know that. I
between them.
understand. You'd
Not
like to
always
prepare.
possible, but
If I'm learning, I know it by now. If I'm learning the rules, I would read it once while having the game out open and on the table, and then I'll read the second time, because I like remembering stuff. And I think all I need is probably just maybe 10 minutes to kind of restructure my brain. And then usually I'm okay. Well, it depends how heavy the game is. Even the game is pretty light. I can probably do. I have my own structure. Anyways, that's on our How to Teach Board Game vlog. So check that out.
And I can usually pick up a lighter game just from reading the book.
Yes.
On a heavier game, it really does help to set it up.
On the table, yes.
Because even without playing it through, you know what everything's called if you set it up. You know what things look like, and it's then easier to put that into context through the reading.
Depends on the rule book as well. There are games with easier to read and easier to understand rule books. Some others are a little bit more challenging, I would say. But that's not.
And we do see a lot of prototype rule books as well.
That's correct. Yes, we do a lot of Kickstarter and prototype.
Yep. So a lot of them are incomplete or still going through the final
stage,
editing,
which is fair enough. And then we just going back and forth. So that's basically the process. Could be back and forth to the designers or publishers, what's clarification, and also depends on what we need to do. Now, as Tarrant mentioned briefly before, how to play video is probably the most that we need preparation, because you need to think and prepare usually maybe 1 or a couple of weeks or something like that. and do it. Now we don't actually do scripting for our how to play. That's a secret, not a secret.
Yeah, we don't script it through. We tried it once. I had a lot of spare time to script. I believe it was Jahja project.
Yep.
And I didn't feel when
Natural.
we were filming it and I was reading from this script, I didn't feel like I was teaching anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was just reading a script and going through the motions, and it didn't feel like a good teach. And if the video doesn't feel like I'm teaching, then I don't think it's as effective. So it was a lot of time for not that much extra result. So
Yes.
we went away from that.
We do usually spend a lot of, well, maybe like more, if you used to script, this is probably more time on the day of filming, because then we need to have like heaps of short, because Tarrant would be explaining of how to play, and I'll be behind the camera. I'll be the one controlling the camera, so it's easier to do it because there are two of us, and so Tarrant can be focusing on the rules while I do the aesthetic, the camera angle, the everything else. So that way it works. It does take a lot of cuts. Like for example, Azul, our 10 minutes Azul video, Azul Summer Pavilion. How many cuts was that?
100 and change, I think.
100 and change. See, so for about 10 minutes video, that's how many cuts we have. So short cuts, because there's no script, so think about it and say what needs to be said, cut, and then the process repeats until we finish the game. So that would usually take a while.
Yep. We'll generally film it sequentially. That probably
Yes.
means more breaking up and setting down bits on the table, but if I'm not teaching it sequentially, then that's going to scramble my head and I'll miss bits. So.
And you usually take a little bit of notes as well if it's not sequentially. There are some times where we don't do it sequentially because of the angle of the camera or just setup needed.
Yeah. If the board is completely composed of tiles that all sit next to each other, or a set of cards that's going to take ages to set up and break down every time, then we'll sort of work around it. But
Yes. And sometimes it's like different camera, this is on my side, different camera angle would probably need like from here to here and then from overhead to sideways and so on. That would take a bit of time to adjust, make sure it's straight, make sure it's, it's less glary, but that's just some of the things that I have to think about. And cuts between one to another cut, I'm gonna make sure that it's not moving, so it doesn't, you can't tell if it's like the next cut. That's just part of the trick that I have to make sure that that's happening.
yeah.
So that's the filming type. And then now, once that's done, we just want to try, we'll talk about how to play for now. Once that's done, Tarrant will watch all the clips and then put in sequential order, and then put notes for me. And
Yep,
any
that's essentially the
overlays and any captions or anything like that.
That's what we call the content edit, I guess.
Okay, there's a proper name for it.
Well, that's what I call it anyway.
Okay.
Because you do the technical edit. You're
Yes.
making it look good, and you're making sure the sound all matches up when you go through.
And also,
I'm just watching it to make sure it makes sense in an explanation, that I haven't said the wrong thing, that I haven't left anything out.
Sometimes we re-record some things if we leave anything out. Well, that could happen when I edit. So next step would be me editing. So I'll be editing with Tarrant's note, and I edit like any gaps in between cuts, anything, any animations that I need to do, any sub-caption, any pretty animations that I hardly do anything that's just pretty, mainly just to support what you explain or just the understanding, because our how to play is focusing on a good teach makes a game that is, makes games easier to understand basically in sequential order. So I'll do the editing and everything. And export it, and then rendering or whatever it is you call it, and then Tarrant watched it.
I'll
and
do
then
the final watch. I usually like it more that time, because I always
you always think that, oh, it wasn't good until it's put together. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's actually not too bad.
I hate every one of my own videos on the content edit, which is done on the same day as
Yes.
filming.
Yeah.
But then it's usually okay when
Yeah.
I give it the second watch.
Yes. So editing could take a while as well. It's because I have to watch and then just every single clip. You can imagine, like, as well, for example, there's like 100 and change clips, and I have to watch every single one, and then like in between clips, I'll make sure that that's good. Any transitions done or not, any text needed, any animations not, and so on. So a lot of work goes behind that, and then Tarrant watches if there's any changes of a stuff up, and then we do another rendering, and then that's it, and we upload, and that takes a while at the moment because our internet is quite slow, and that's basically it, and then it goes to where that needs to watch it.
And
The
then-
end.
Plus, you have to. There's quite a bit in uploading it as well.
Oh, that's correct. Sorry.
Linking
yeah.
it through all the social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah, linking it through social media, scheduling it, design the thumbnails as well, and so on.
Doing the indices on
me.
the longer videos.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how to play. So from receiving the games to finish is probably takes us days.
Yeah, it
yeah,
takes.
would be, yeah.
Yeah, learning it and learning it well and
Yes.
getting it all out. It's if we can get a video out within a week of receiving it, that's
lucky.
That's required a lot of effort. It's usually
That's
a
a lot
couple
of-
of weeks.
Yeah, usually. Well, ideally it's 4 weeks because then we have other things as well and other workload just in case, and then there might be some corrections or something rules boo-boo. So we try to always allow time. So that's how to play. This is short and sweet. Well, it's Stella short and sweet. So the initial process is similar. So the playing part until it becomes to filming. Now that's where Tarrant stops there. So usually, unless if I really like help, I've got like a lot of things to do or something like that. And Tarrant what might help, like 1% of the time maybe or something like that.
And it's by design. This is
Yes.
I work full time.
Mm-hmm.
Stella works on Meeple University full time.
Yeah.
So we
Plus
need
doing part-time something else
Yeah.
occasionally. Yeah.
yeah. So we needed content that I could just step away from.
And plus, I like doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got Stella short and sweet, and I'll be doing the rest. I'll be writing the script because I can do not script, but I don't. If I spend more time scripting or just planning what I say, because this video is shorter. If I don't do that, that means I might go back and forth. Oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. So at least I'm ready. Unlike Tarrant, so it's just a different video altogether. It's just like really short summary. If I forget it, like like that. So yeah.
And mine, the what to expect videos
It's scripted as well. Yeah,
is
because
scripted as well.
yeah.
So I write the scripts for those.
Yes.
And it's for the same reason. Hitting high points when you're trying to make it as short as possible requires careful phrasing and careful editing to make sure that nothing's left out.
Yep.
And they're not really teachers. So even though because I'm getting information across rather than trying to teach a game, and I've got more of a time constraint, I do need to script those videos to make them what they are.
That's correct. I agree. It's just to make it as concise as possible. So once I record the short and sweet, and we record what to expect, and then I do the edit. Now for the short and sweet video, I tend to be more focusing on myself rather than on the game. Well, combinations really, depending on what is right. When it comes to focusing on me, like what did they call it? Bobblehead? Like talking head? Talking head. Sorry, bobblehead. I wish there would be. Anyways, talking head. So that's why I try to like have more animations, like things will like come to the screen, zoos, and then out, zoos, and things flip and some sort of thing. So I like to play around with that because it does take time, to be honest, but it's also quite fun, and also it's creative, and I like doing that. That's just fun, sweet. And then Tarrant does, and then I upload, and that's it. And scheduling and thumbnails, and Tarrant usually doesn't watch it unless if you want to.
Yeah, I I watch most of them in the end, but
Yep.
I don't proof watch it before it goes out.
Yep.
It's entirely your domain.
Yes. So what else is there? There's a playthrough video, which is similar.
Yeah.
And vlog, which is usually just me. After this, just me.
Yep.
What other videos do we do?
You've got the board game breakfast ones, which you'll do alongside your short and
That's
sweets.
for the
They're
Dice Tower. Yes.
Similar style these
Yeah.
days.
To Dice Tower.
Yeah.
And that's it. So that's basically it. What goes behind our production. Now, the equipment that we use, that's a different story. That's the one that we can talk about later. What I use, what we started with. Oh my god, you don't want to know. Maybe you do. What we started with and so on. So just if you like, just hit the like button and also subscribe so you get notification when we talk about those. It might be relevant to you, might not be. Maybe you're just curious. Maybe you want to start your own channel. Maybe that will help. Who knows? Subscribe and hit the bell so you get notification. You can also, at some point, the Meeple will pop up there and then click that. And I also have account on Instagram, which you can follow and we can chat there. I post a lot of sort of like a review styles or pretty shorts of board games and so on. And until then, take care. Till next time.